Hey y'all, and welcome back. So you guys been asking me to do a part 2 on Microblading the Sierra Way, the class that I took last year. First and foremost, I hope everybody is staying safe in this pandemic. It's been a lot going on, and it's been a crazy year since I took that class. So I took that class March of 2020, and that's when everything started kicking off with COVID. So I've been holding off on doing the video because it's just kind of like, with shutdowns and stuff like that, I want to make sure that I'm able to give like accuracy on like my experience, whatever. Clearly I need to talk up a little bit more, so let me talk up a little bit more. But excuse my appearance, I just woke up. All I did was literally brush my teeth, wash my face, and put on some lip gloss. So still in my pajamas. But let's get into it. So since taking the class and it's being a year out now, let me stop shaking the table. Being a year out now, I would say that there are some, and again, it's been a year, so maybe she's made some changes to her class. But if I could do it again, I probably would just spend more money to go to a more, I don't want to say credible, but a more, I guess that's the word I gotta use, a more credible class. But I don't want to say credible. That's not the word that I want to use. I just can't think of the word that I want to use right now. There are other classes that are offered by people and institutions who are very prominent in the permanent makeup community, and I am a firm believer in just because you know how to do something doesn't mean that you know how to teach others to do it to where they can be successful. There was something that I remember somebody asked during the class, like, how deep you should go when microblading, and she was like, oh, that doesn't really matter. You want to make sure you go deep enough, but the blade will stop you from going too deep. Knowing what I know now, that is not true. You can definitely go too deep, and when you go too deep, you get not the best results. So it was just certain questions and the answers that we were receiving that knowing now, it just wasn't right. And her work looks incredible, but that doesn't mean that you know how to get someone else's to look incredible, if that makes sense. Like I cook really good greens. I would not know how to teach somebody to do it. It's just something that I know how to do. I wouldn't know where to begin on teaching somebody how to do it, and I could tell you what I do, but if I don't know the rhyme and reason behind why I'm doing it, or I just know why I'm doing it, you're not gonna end up with the same results as me, So the class is only 1 day long, and I just feel like with her running a little bit late, we started to rush through some things like the micro shading portion. And looking back at it, we spent a lot of time on microblading when a majority of people is not even good candidates for microblading. You can't microblade on every skin type. And it actually causes a lot of trauma to the point where other techniques are being invented. Like if you want more of a hair stroke pattern, they're turning to using machines now for that, just like how you would use the machine for micro shading. Now classes are being taught on how to do strokes with machines, because microblading with the blade causes a lot of trauma, and a lot of people are not good candidates for it, such as if they have big pores, oily skin, mature skin. They're just not good candidates for it. And if I recall, we weren't really taught who was and who wasn't a good candidate for microblading. And if you do microblading on somebody who's not a good candidate, you're not going to get very good results. And I'm not saying her class was horrible by any means, It's just when you're a beginner and you're being taught something, what that person says, you're thinking like that's just correct, like what that person is telling me is correct. I don't know, they know, I done seen they work and they work is good. But then once you get dropped in the field and you start doing more on your own and more research on your own, start seeing your own results and stuff, you're like, yo, this ain't it. And then you realize, but you know, I can't even just say it's just her class. There's a lot of people, and I will say, add yourself to permanent makeup groups. You will get a lot of like advice in those groups. Somebody to follow on Instagram, somebody who's like really good, knows machines inside and out, blades inside and out, techniques and all that stuff. Will Anthony, he's the bomb. He's the bomb. And he's like a celebrity in the permanent makeup community. However, he is very approachable and very helpful, like hands down. But the class was only 1 day long, and what most people are going towards now with the micro shading, we kind of just went through that. It was just maybe 45 minutes of that, and I did not walk away with confidence. And and again, this is a year ago, so I'm going off of a year of so much stuff has happened in a year, y'all. So she gave us the guide on how to make 30K in 30 days and stuff like that. Don't just jump off the porch and just think you could, just after taking that class, don't think you could just jump off the porch and start working on people. No, work on latex. You got to remember, because people be like, oh, you know, you have to work on people in order to get your, you know, technique right, which is true. However, models should not be used for just straight up practice, is what I'm saying. Practice on your latex skin, get your technique down, find a pattern that you're good with, and then start applying it. And then you'll start seeing how it's different working on latex and real skin. And then you'll be able to start making those corrections. And then you'll be able to, you know, move better with that. But the whole just taking a class and then the next day you're able to work on somebody, no, I would not recommend that. You got to remember, permanent makeup is permanent makeup, and you can mess somebody up. And you don't want to A, discourage yourself, and B, you don't want to start making a bad reputation for yourself when you're just beginning, you know. People aren't really that nice when, you know, they're walking around with something on their face. People are going to get scared. Even if it's something that you can fix, people are going to be like, you did this the first time, how are you going to fix it the second time, you know? And that's not to be discouraging, it's just the truth. If somebody's going to do something permanent on your face, you're going to want to make sure that they, you know, have an idea of what they're doing. Especially if you know that you're going in to being a model, you want to at least know that they have an idea of what they're doing, you know. Other things about the class, the technique that was taught, we weren't really taught more than one stroke pattern, and stroke patterns aren't one size fit all. You know, you see how my eyebrows, they grow up and then they start going to the side. Some people's like just grow up, some people's just start right here, goes to the side. And it's like we weren't taught how to maneuver through different, you know, hair patterns on your eyebrow, on other people's eyebrows and stuff like that, and how to make it still look realistic. Because somebody's eyebrows naturally just grow this way, like their hairs don't grow up, they just naturally just grow to the side, and I just start stroking in the opposite direction, it's not gonna give it that realistic feel, you know. And of course, you know, permanent makeup isn't always gonna look realistic. You try to get as realistic as possible, you know. When somebody, it's just like lace can look good, but if somebody's up on you, you're going to be able to see lace. It doesn't matter how good the person is that was laying it, you're gonna be able to see lace. Lace don't look like no scalp, and that's just the truth, you know. But I will say, if I had to do it all again, I wouldn't. I would have just took a more expensive class. You know, I'm not saying expensive always means better, but I'm talking about just a better kit. Getting your bloodborne pathogen certificate there. you know, instead of 1 day, 3 days, because it's a lot of information taken in 1 day. And I personally drove 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours to that class. And it's like leaving the house at like 5 in the morning, not getting back till like almost 1 in the morning. That was a lot to take in and stuff, and just a little bit of time. So if I had to do it again, I wouldn't. I would just go to someone who's more prestigious in the permanent makeup community, longer days. I would go to somebody local, I should say. Yeah, I would go to somebody local, because traveling artists don't know the laws of the different states that they're traveling to when it comes to permanent makeup. And so you're already new to permanent makeup, right? You only took a class for 1 day, and now you're left on your own to try to find out the laws of permanent makeup in that state, because your teacher didn't know, because they're not from your state. They don't practice in your state, you know? We didn't have any live models. We didn't, she didn't do a live model in front of us. And I feel like that's something that we would want to see. Working on latex is not the same as working on a person. So I feel like on the top of us working on latex, she worked on latex in front of us as well. I feel like we should have at least been able to see her work on a person. So, you know, that was just my experience. She was a sweetheart. Her assistant was a sweetheart. You know, they fed us. They were funny. They did answer all the questions we did have. However, looking back at it, some of those answers just weren't correct. And, you know, that might be good enough for some people, but I'm somebody, if I spend money on something and I truly have a passion about something, I have a passion for the beauty industry. So I don't want subpar work. With any, it doesn't matter where you go. Even if you do go to a bomb teacher, you know, somebody who knows the ins and outs, you're gonna, with the beauty community, and that includes permanent makeup, things always change. That's one of the things that I love about the beauty community. Things always change. So you're gonna always have to, you know, do extra education along the way. That's just the truth. You know, you're gonna always have to do that. So it's not like I'm like, oh, I had to go pay for another class because blah blah blah. That's not what I'm saying, because you're gonna always have to, you know, get extra education. You're gonna always have to do that, even when you're doing hair. All these hair expos and stuff, people going to learn new stuff. You still have to, with the state board and stuff, through certain years, you have to do a continuing education class. Stuff is always changing. So I'm not saying that she taught absolutely nothing at all. That's not what I'm saying at all whatsoever. I'm just saying that for someone to be teaching possibly people who have never been in this field at all before, I think she's really good at what she does. I just don't think that she knows how to implement it in teaching. But like I said, she's a great person. I don't want it to make it seem like I'm bashing her class, because I enjoyed the class. It's just that I'm somebody who is very serious about the industry, the beauty industry altogether. And I just feel like I low-key kind of learned way more after the class than I did during the class. And if I had to do it again, I would just take a different class. That's just me. You know, people probably have, that's just me, that's just my opinion. You know, there'll probably be somebody in the comment section talking about, girl, nah, because the way she taught me, my work is blah 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 blah. And that's good for you. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. This is my review. And I'm not just complaining. Somebody put one of those comments on my other videos like, oh, well, as humans, it's natural for us just to complain. And it's like, I'm not complaining. If I pay for a service, a review is a review, right? You know, people, with my products that I push out, you know, I'm open to reviews. It's constructive criticism. I can't get better if nobody's telling me, you know, what's wrong. You know, nobody's perfect. So all in all, I would have just paid more for a longer class with someone local, because remember, I was in North Carolina. I'm in Georgia now, but I was in North Carolina with someone local, and I would have did my research on permanent makeup so that I could have came up with a list of questions. And this is on me. This isn't on the class at all. This is on me. I would have did more footwork before the class so that I could have had my questions already ready. Because you know, when you're in the class and they're like, do you have any questions? You don't. I gotta merge videos because my last video cut out. But as always, if you liked my video, if you have questions, comment. But you know, like, comment, subscribe. I have some more videos coming out. I actually have content now, y'all. Like, I got stuff to talk about, you know. Thanks everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope I answered some questions. If you do have more questions, just go ahead and comment. I'll just comment my answer if I have one. If I don't have one, I'll just tell you I don't have an answer to that. But like, comment, subscribe, you guys. Thank you for watching.